Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Psicast. I'm your host, Robert Marsi. I'm joined here with Bill Montana.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. So, what do we got in this edition?
In this edition, we got a couple items, actually.
All right.
I think you got one. You want to start off? Max put out a new piece you want to talk about for a minute.
Oh, yes. Max came out with a new effect. It's called, well, it's not new, but it's been something that he's been talking about for a while now, and it's called Kirigami. And Kirigami is an effect where you basically you just use something as simple as a piece of paper, something to write with, and with some scissors, or you can use your hands. And what you do is they fold up a piece of paper into 8 squares, and then you write letters on them, and then using let's just say a selection process, a spectator makes up a word using those letters, and then you can reveal what that word is. All while you're looking away. So it's really cool. I mean, especially with Max, even if you might not like the effect, but anything by Max where he explains and talks about histories is always definitely something worth getting.
Yep.
So anything by Max, I always highly recommend. Even if I don't like the effect, I love, and I'm sure others do too, love listening to him talk about or explaining effects, because sometimes he'll go into talking about other things, unrelated. So he is like a walking encyclopedia of knowledge, and I really like Max's stuff. So,
yeah, we're talking about Max Maven for you guys that haven't been around a while.
Yeah, Max Maven. So
and the new one's called Kirigami?
Kirigami. Mm-hmm.
You want to spell that?
Yeah, it's Kirigami. Kirigami.
Yeah.
And it's by Max Maven. So
cool.
definitely check it out. Really, really. I mean, it's done by a master. Okay, living legend. And anything you can get your hands on, get it.
Yeah, he has put out some quality stuff over the years.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And he'll continue to put out quality stuff.
Right. Oh, yeah. He's put a lot of videos out, and as far as I heard from the grapevine, there is a new DVD set in the works by Max, which should be released anytime between now and next year. So,
cool.
Keep your eye.
You got that coming down the pike. That's good.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah.
And then we got the Tumblebugs are back in stock at Stevens Magic Emporium. They got 1 or 2 left.
Tumblebugs, yeah.
Tumblebug. You don't know what a Tumblebug is, go over to Stevens Magic Emporium and check it out. It's a little piece of plastic that rolls on the table. They can, flip over, but you can do it, and they can't. It's kind of a cool thing, actually. we had a program on those a while back when we talked about snappers and other stuff, but the Tumblebug's actually pretty damn cool. And it's in the same bank, Once you figure out how to get it to do what you want it to do, it's pretty cool. But a lot of those things you don't see much anymore, and that's an old Abbott's effect, and Stevens got a hold of some of them, so it's pretty cool. Some of you guys maybe remember them from, decades ago. But, yeah. Just one of those oddball effects that, you can carry your pocket and work.
Interesting.
And the buzz today, this just came out maybe 2 hours ago or less. Damian Reinbold, Sin the Secret of Bob Nelson book is getting ready to come out in the 2nd edition.
Ooh.
And that's hot off the press.
Yikes.
And I think Grace is gonna offer the entire run to Stephen's Magic Emporium. So, there you go. Keep an eye out. If you missed it the first time, keep an eye out for it. Because that is a phenomenal book. Damien was, he actually worked at Nelson Enterprises when he was a kid. And this is all stories of Damien working in the back room and, like building ultra-perfect clipboards,
Uh-huh.
In the back rooms of Nelson's at Columbus. With Bob and Betty, yep, that's some good stuff right there. It's about as historical as you're going to get. It's also got a few effects in it. It's like his horoscope act in the back.
Uh-huh.
The Nelson horoscope act, not the rehashes, the original. Very cool there. It's got a couple Nelson ideas in it, like Pennies for Your Thoughts and stuff. It's a great book. And, it goes back into this historical genre that we really like. So check that out, It's not much, like $20, $25 or something. Worth every penny. Even if it's $50, it's still worth every penny. It's one of the best books I've ever read.
Yo.
Actually, that was one of the books I bought several copies of and given them to friends of mine that are mentalists. It was like gifts. That's how highly rated that book was. Great book. It's going to come out in the second edition. So I know some of you guys missed it the first time around. It was available, and then Damien died, and then gone. Now it's back, or going to be back. So that's a good thing.
Uh-huh.
I got my little Jimmy's Prop Shop stuff in. That stuff is phenomenal. And this stuff works really well. You need to get up on some of that, too. And I think that's it for the buzz, unless you got something else. Robert?
In terms of buzz. Yeah, in terms of buzz.
Yeah, do you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Okay, last week on the Psicast, we covered packing your show for travel.
Right.
Right. This week, I thought we should talk about a little bit about back-of-the-room selling.
Okay.
I know you're a fan of that. I'm a fan of that.
Uh-huh.
Let's start off by let me have you start off and give them a basic idea of what back of the room is and why we do back of the room.
All right. So back of the room is where you sell your products. It enables you, it's a product that you sell. So it could be 2-card monies, it could be a fortune teller. It could be anything that people can buy and take home with them. And the reason we sell it is because, one, audiences love, if they like you, they want to take a piece of you home. Or two, also, sometimes or a lot of times, you'll make more money selling back of the room products than you will during your paid show.
Right, and that's the key thing. Now, some audiences, most of the theaters, like you got to see a concert, right?
Mm-hmm.
They sell hats and T-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
For like $50 a pop, or more these days.
Yeah.
You can go down the street and get a hat for $1, but you get a hat at the concert with a name on it. It's $50. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So price really isn't an object here. Now, you want to keep your prices within some kind of reality. But, for example, if you're selling 2-card monies for $5 to $10, that's not a big deal, Maybe even $20. It's not a big issue. But there is some process selection that you want to consider when doing back of the room. The effect, whatever effects you decide to choose to, put in your back of the room thing to get people started in magic, have to be old. Require nothing for skill. I mean, the most complicated thing is turn the card over behind your back. 2-card money, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want skill-based effects. Very simple, almost self-working kind of things, but not quite to the self-working level, but more of a highly visual, something that's very entertaining that they can show to their friends. Now, we're talking about lay audiences. We're not talking about selling to other magicians, okay? Let me make that clear. I want to make sure that's, pretty clear. Because we're not talking about selling to magicians and mentalists. We're talking about selling to lay audiences, right?
Right.
So we want stuff that is extremely simple to do. I mean, not simple for a magician, simple for a lay person to do. Like anybody can learn a 2-card Monte in under 10 minutes, or under 2 minutes, or 3 minutes, or whatever, right? At least a version of it. Now, you can make that up yourself, not very hard. In a couple decks, you got 50 some of them, 50 sets of them. For not much money either, Now, you're going to need to type up your own instructions. That's kind of the rule of Back in the Room. Your own artwork on it. And if you're going to provide pattern, the pattern needs to be yours, right? Even though it's an ancient effect, it needs to be your own pattern in this kind of thing, right? It can't be like, you can't just go and copy somebody else's pattern. That's not fair.
Yeah, make it your own.
Make it your own. Make it as much your own as possible, even though it is an old effect. Maybe even credit the original creator of it or whatever, depending on what the effect is. But you want something that's visual, simple, that they can share to their friends and amaze their friends. That is, your audience members amazing their friends with the magic tricks. Got it? Or some very simple mentalism, mind reading kind of things. This kind of thing. You want something extremely simple. Okay, now, to a magician, we might say a double lift is pretty simple. To a lay audience, double lift is not simple. Tone it down even more, right? The most complicated the move can be literally is turn the card over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's about this pick it off the table and turn it over behind your back and bring it back out. Very, very simple. I want to stress that. I can't stress that enough. Self-working, simplicity. But it has to be something unique and visual, right? Now, if you have some time, like the eye tester routine, the choice vision upside down eye is a very simple thing. It's old as hell. It's a good effect for Back in the Room because it's fun. They can show it to people, screw with people. And these kind of things, fortune teller, pretty much ready-made. I know you made a lot of money off that thing. But you don't want anything complicated, and you want it presented nice. You want it nice packaging. Now, it doesn't have to be, gold foil boxes and shit. Get that out of your damn head. But it needs to be, for whatever it is, it needs to be nice. It could be in a plastic bag. It could be, with some instructions in the cards. That's fine. Maybe a cover on it in the bag. And that's all acceptable. But it needs to be fairly nice. It can be too overkill. And you want everything to be simple. You want to be easy to open, easy to do. I mean, everything's simple. Got it? I don't know how much I can illustrate that to a magician that's never done Back in the Room, but simplicity is the key here. And then the method of the effect needs to be extremely simple, but yet an amazing effect. And I would say things like Professor's Nightmare, the 3 ropes of an equal length, might be too complicated for a lay audience. Okay?
For sure.
I mean, now, it could be done, it could be taught to them, but it's more of a starter guy in magic that wants to get into magic. But you want something ridiculously simple. Ring and Spring's a good one. You know, the pin trick. That's basically a diaper pin, the wood stick that passes through the metal. That's fairly simple. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But doing a move like Professor's Nightmare, that could get a little complex. Stay away from that stuff.
Yes.
Now, some venues it is acceptable to do back in the room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or front of house sales or whatever you want to do, like T-shirts, merchandise, that kind of posters. Posters, photos, you know, the old press photos are usually signing after the show. Hats, T-shirts, this kind of thing is very acceptable to do in a lot of venues. Now, there's some types of venues that it's just not appropriate to do back in the room when you're charging astronomical money. Unless it's that type of venue. You know what I mean? Like private events, you may or may not do it. You know, it just depends on, it's going to be a judgment call there. General admission shows, hell yes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Although I know you do some back-of-the-room sales at one of your dinner theater shows, so.
Mm-hmm.
But it's perfectly acceptable to do. You know, nobody has a problem with it. Now, the way you approach that, if you're in a venue that you could be questionable, ask somebody. Right?
Yeah. Ask the person who hired you.
Right. And then you're clear.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. You know, that solves a lot of problems, you know? But a lot of them don't care. I mean, they're fine. They're fine with it. They know, you know, you gotta earn. So that's all good. Now, there are some strategies for back of the room or in a front of house sales or whatever. And one of the biggest is how you present your items for sale. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The second thing you got to understand is do not pitch from the stage. During the show.
Right.
You're like, hey, because you're not there to pitch the merchandise. You're there to do the show. The merchandise, a little bonus thing after the show that you can actually make pretty good money on. You got to approach it correctly. Now, in an audio program me and Robert did was called Table Merchandising, where we talk about methods and strategies on how to set up your table for back-of-the-room sales.
Mm-hmm.
We already did an entire 3-hour program, 2-hour, 3-hour program on this. That is just literally packed with information. We're not going to get into all that here because it's a Psicast. But we are going to cover a couple strategies on presentation, okay? Mm-hmm. If you have your own little small table that you want to sell off of, you know, put a table cover on it. Right?
Right.
It's really a small table with table cover. Make it look nice. Put your merchandise on the table, maybe in little easels or something, so it sticks up. So it's, you know, visible, it's easy to get to. Have your demo laying there so you can perform it after the show. Do a little bonus performance after the show, showing the stuff you're selling. Don't pitch it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to. You don't need to pitch. I don't know how I can explain that any other way. Is there another way to explain that?
Yeah, don't pitch.
Right. It's not like you're pitching at a flea market. Don't do that. Unless you're at a flea market, then, you know, pitch the motherfucker. But on the back of the room, like at your dinner theater, you don't pitch anything, do you?
Well, what I do, I don't pitch, and you're right.
You demo one piece during the show, and then you give it to the spectator.
I might demo something out. I will make a mention of having this, whatever it is I'm doing, plus other stuff after the show for sale.
But it's real brief and real on to the next effect kind of thing.
Right. Exactly. You don't want to turn it into a pitch-a-thon, you know?
Never. Never, ever, ever, ever. You want to employ a very soft sell strategy, actually.
Yeah.
And I covered some of those soft sell strategies in, I think, Interrupt, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah, and there's some in Mystic Energy.
Yeah.
Where the things are so cool, they just buy them, dude. But you don't want to pitch. You don't want to give prices. You don't want to pitch until it's time to. Somebody asks us how much, then tell them your price on it and be done with it. But you're not pitching, and you're not. You can have a little card that says how much they are. That's acceptable. Small, not big, small.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want it. God, this is tough to explain. You don't want to over-glorify that you're actually selling stuff. And the reason you don't want to over-glorify you're selling stuff is because your sales will actually be higher.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you might think it's the other way around, but now this is based on your performance because they're buying something from you because, A, they like you and they want to take home a souvenir, okay, or a memento of the occasion, a memento of the memory of the experience. And this is why audience participation in the items that you're pitching comes into play. Okay?
Uh-huh.
The more people you involve in, well, let's say you do the show, and then you're selling maybe a DVD of that performance afterwards, is one strategy you can use.
Mm-hmm.
The more people you involve in the show, the more people are going to be wanting to buy the DVD because they're in the show, right? See how the logic works? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to really pitch anything, but you do need to have proper audience management, proper audience participation in your show, okay, which will increase your rack of the room sales. Just a fact.
Hey, that is true.
It is true. And like you don't pitch anything, but I know you occasionally sell like 2-card Monties, and they'll do fortune tellers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little fortune teller recreated from one from 1854. For those of you that don't know, but it's a killer little piece. And then you added in I think a lucky penny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the old Nelson or novelty company idea of a lucky penny, which works really well with fortune teller. Cost is basically nothing. Now you also present it very well. It's a laminated board with an instruction book, and it's all very nice and neat.
Yes.
So neatness. Neatness we can talk about. Neatness comes into product packaging. It's important. For everybody honest. Now, it doesn't need to necessarily be full color and glossy gold foil boxes and stuff. It just needs to be nice packaging, or reasonably nice packaging,
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you set up your back of the room, okay, now for those of you who've never done it, I'm going to give you a few tips. Small table. Let's say your table's 2 foot by 4 foot and about 28, 30 inches high. Pretty standard, pretty standard small table, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to leave a 6-inch gutter all the way around the outside edge of that table. Now that's going to make your table go from a 2 foot to a 4 foot to about a 1 foot to about a 3 foot. So you're going to have 1 foot by 3 foot space in the middle of the table to sell stuff, which is plenty for what you're doing, right? That'll hold, I don't know, 4 or 5 effects, reasonably nicely on little easels without looking bad. The border gutter is on the edge of the table coming into the inside of the table about 6 inches, or the length of an American dollar bill, which is approximately 6 inches. This is important because this gives them a place to sit a drink on the table without interfering with your merchandise. Sits a purse down so they can reach into the purse and get some money to buy your goods. Lay a phone down, all that stuff, all the way around the table too. So you'll have, like, if you look at a rectangular table, you have 6 inches in, draw a line. on the back side, 6-inch in, draw a line, 6-inch in, draw a line on the sides. So your interior space would be roughly, 1 by 3 of working space on the table. But, you look at the blank space and you think, well, blank space, I can fill that with crap. No. Here's what I want you to do. Because you understand what I'm talking about once you do it. Go ahead and fill your table completely up full of shit and have it in a mess. You know what I'm saying? Because even if you stack it neatly on that table, it's still going to look like a mess. Go ahead and do it. Try it. Use it one shelf. The next shelf, put 6-inch border on it and just show the items,
Uh-huh.
And keep the extra items underneath the table. Like say you brought 10 or 15 of each. Keep those in a box underneath the table. And this brings us to the most important of all subtleties for showing back in the room. What kind of box do they want, Robert?
What kind of box?
Yeah. Do they want to bring their merchandise into the venue for back in the room?
Okay. Clean box.
Clean, new box.
Yep. No moldy, stinky-ass boxes, all right?
Preferably a new box changed out every venue or 2 venues, 2 gigs, every gig or every 2 gigs.
Yes.
And you want to explain to them why that is important?
Well, the main reason is because of appearance. 1.
Yep.
2 is that if you bring a stinky box like you see at some of these magic auctions, some people are going to find the smell offensive. I know I did once. It was a box full of coloring books. It smelled horrible.
Yeah, keep talking for a minute, Robert.
Yeah. So
I'm going to grab this other wine real quick.
Yeah. So it's really important that you have a clean box and, like Bill said, change it every other show because you want to keep appearances apart. You don't want to take a ripped-up box where it's got, dents and cracks and everything, and then the box is going to look like it's going to fall apart. You do not want to take that with you to your shows. Okay, that's almost like the kiss of death. So it's really important. Appearance is really everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And if you're wearing a shirt with white cuffs on it, I'm going to give you a life expectancy, 1 to 2 shows, and throw it away. Yeah, I'm serious.
Yeah.
I don't care if photography is going to have sweat stains, dude. They're gonna look bad after 1 to 2 shows. You're not going to be able to get the sweat stains out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a fact. White shirts are terrible for that. But that's okay. They got the purpose. But if you have your shirts custom made, you can have them with a black inside liner on the white cuff. That'll help make the shirt last a little longer. But it's just one of those things that appearance is pretty much everything. And then make sure you keep your merchandise in an area of the house, not the kitchen areas, not a damn basement, like a dry closet, in a room that you don't smoke in, use the restroom in, or anything else, right? Cook in, any of that. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So like in a bad guest room that's just clean, and that room stays, keep the door closed, keep in the closet, keep it clean. If not, if it even starts to having a little smell other than new box smell, time to change the box. If the box gets beat up or starts looking, crusty, the tape starts looking bad, it just starts looking like it's been opened too many times, change the box. Now, how many of your spectators will actually see the box? Well, a percentage of them will, right?
A lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, a percentage of them won't. If you set up an hour before the gig and nobody sees it or sees you walking into the building, you might be okay, right? Provided they don't see you pack the stuff up when you're walking out the door. Because they're loafing around. So it's just better to go with the new box philosophy than it is to think about anything else. And we're not telling you the new box philosophy is a suggestion. It's pretty much a fact of life. I don't care, box is $3-4. It's worth it. You know what I mean? Because you printed your entire inventory for like $10 and you sold it for $1,000. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Next thing's pricing. Pricing doesn't matter either. Pricing is going to be based on what market you're working. Right?
Right.
Pricing has nothing to do with magic shop prices either. Right? Because you're not working in a magic shop. Forget that. Sure. You're working at a theater, concert, venue hall, or something where the price doesn't really matter at this point. So you got to take into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And only to be fairly, creative with your pricing. If you got some real cheap items that cost you a nickel, 3 for $10's good. $5 each or 3 for $10. Right?
Right.
That's a good pricing structure, and stuff, inside may only cost 15 cents to make. So, that's a decent price structure right there, $5 each or 3 for $10. That sounds like a bargain,
Right.
But when the stuff costs me less than $1, I'm still making $9 on every group I sell. You're going to want to mix pricing. I really can't explain mixed pricing to you, but I'll give you the gist of it. A $5 item, a $10 item, and a $20 item. Example.
Mm-hmm.
In some markets, depending on where you're working, $5 item may be a $20 item. The middle item may be a $50 item. And the high-end item may be $100. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same stuff. Nothing changed. Except the venue you're working at, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the most you sold 2-card money for? 20?
The 2-card money I actually sold for the most was 10.
$10?
Yeah, $10.
Okay.
That's a pretty fair price.
Yeah, you're a little cheap.
Well,
I sold them for 20, but
Oh, you have?
When you look around and the drinks they're serving in this place are $2,000 a glass, yeah, don't worry about the $20. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The wine was, minimum 75, 80 years old. The champagne was, dumb, and the cognac was King Louis. Yeah. Why are you going to go in there and bottom feed?
Yeah, it's true. Huh.
Everybody's drinking $200 a glass. There's no reason to bottom feed. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
It was a charity benefit, too. So we were, I sold them for 20 and donated to charity. Might as well make them some money, But, you can't really... You can't go $5 and $2, and that just doesn't seem right in those kind of events. So you got to make those decisions on your own. Now your standard pricing at 10. If he's working a real high end show, it could still be 10 or it could be 15. Or 20.
Uh-huh.
It's all going to depend on the type of show you're working. and the venue working. Now, if you're working a free gig, this is where back of the room saves you. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
If you're working a free gig for charity, this is where back of the room helps you make money for that charity by actually presenting the people with something for their donation money. This is an important strategy, too. All these things can come into effect to become very beneficial, to make everybody happy, right? I mean, if I'm doing a free talk somewhere, I got two things running. I got a donation basket and I got some merchandise for sale. And I know if you're doing a free talk, you got the same thing. Now, free doesn't necessarily mean free. We're gonna, we're gonna at least take a chance of making some money.
Right.
Free just means we waived our guarantee. We didn't necessarily waive our, our option to walk out of there with some pocket change. So the key points of back of the room are essentially neatly packaged merchandise. Repackaged merchandise is fine. Even if you buy some stuff from the jobber wholesalers out of China, or out of like Magic Incorporated or whatever it is now in Chicago, or Easy Magic, whatever they are now, or one of those guys, repackage that stuff. I mean, you're buying rings and springs. Put them in little boxes that look better than the box they come in. Don't make it look like it's something you bought. Make it look like something you've prepared, especially for the audience at hand. And that always goes better than, this is some stuff I bought, and I'm reselling it. It looks like you're reselling it, right?
Right.
So change that way of thinking, because that way of thinking doesn't really work all that well. And what's your average? I mean, what's the average number of pieces you're selling? Not dollar amount, just pieces.
Not dollar amount, but just like pieces. Usually on a good day, I would be selling anywhere between 10 and 15.
10 and 15 pieces?
Yeah.
And you get a crowd size upwards to 50, right?
Right. And that's, of course, if I do a good job.
Yeah, and if you blow the show, you can pretty much guarantee what your,
right.
your back of the room sales are going to look like. I'll just pack that shit up and go home. Just saying. Because we've all been there. Where we screwed it up so bad that nothing worked. Missed that prediction, missed that prediction, missed that prediction, missed that energy trick, missed that one. 2-card money went off beautifully. Thank God something worked. Yeah, I've seen those. Whew, those are rough days.
Oh, yeah.
Because I carry multiple, imp pads and stuff, and I'll get a prediction, maybe on an imp pad. I'll reach into my pocket to pull it out, and there'll be a long damn imp pad. Done that a few times, too.
Oops.
Oops. Then you get covered. Once that's why I got different colors on them, but then you go, oh. Actually, the other thing later, okay. You get, stall and miss one, get the other one right. But, I mean, it's one of those things where you just got to go with it,
Uh-huh.
You somehow usually put that one in your left pocket, and all of a sudden it's in your right pocket, because you weren't thinking. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Or you pack your pants before you put them on. I've done that. And you put the stuff in the wrong pockets. Like the Swami's usually in the right pocket, and all of a sudden it's in the left. Damn it. I held my pack, I said, made sure I put everything in, with a checklist kind of thing. Before I walk, and never wear your performing clothes as you're driving to the gig. Change at the venue, if at all possible, or near the venue if not possible. You know what I'm saying? But don't wear the clothes from the house to the gig. Generally speaking. I mean, if it's a long-distance drive, jeans and a T-shirt are perfectly acceptable for that, you know?
Right.
As you get close to the gig, put on a long-sleeve shirt that you're getting ready to change out of so you don't look like complete heathen when you're walking in the door. But they're pretty much used to that, you know?
Right.
Because most performers show up rough looking before a gig. Just saying, you know, and then they come out and they're all shiny tuxes and properly dusted and polished shoes and looking better.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that if you don't pay attention to that, you look back going into the gig.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a well-known hypnotist who dressed out after the show, dressed out of his clothing and went into jeans and shirts, and I'm like, what the heck? You took off your tux, and then now you're in jeans and a T-shirt? Not cool. Is that immediately?
Yeah, right after the gig. Yeah, wait till at least some of the audience starts leaving.
Yeah. Yeah, bad choice. No.
Well, you can do that after the gig, but don't do it before the gig, you know?
Yeah.
And anymore, in some of these gigs, you can actually walk in jeans and a shirt, you know? It doesn't really, nobody cares, depending on what act you're doing.
Right.
I mean, some acts, you know, it's appropriate to wear jeans and a T-shirt. And other acts, it's not appropriate. So make sure whatever you're wearing is appropriate for your gig. Now, here's the thing. Bring an extra set of clothes with you when you're driving to a gig. Even if you're going to wear jeans and a T-shirt, wear clean jeans and a T-shirt. You know?
Right.
Because, I mean, if you're even like, let's say you're driving to the gig, you're drinking coffee, getting woke up, or your soda or whatever, and you spill it on yourself. You really want to do your gig in that?
No.
Well, that's your option if you didn't bring anything. Right? And you're hoping when they have one of those hot air dryers so you can dry your pants off so you can piss yourself. And then you find out they got paper towels. Fuck me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't do those stupid things. A lot of guys will tell you this, and they, you know, and then you get out there, you're new, you dressed at home, you looked in the mirror, you look great, left the house. When you got to the show, your clothes are wrinkled and you look like a wreck.
Yeah.
Just saying. You know, it also requires you to leave a little bit earlier for the gig, right?
Uh-huh.
If you're selling back in the room, you need to be able to set up your merchandise table. That's going to take a few minutes to do. Allot your time schedule so you are at the venue in plenty of time to do that. Set up your stage show, then change, then do your gig. Right?
Uh-huh.
I don't even like setting up my stage act in clothes I'm wearing for the gig. Now, Magic Lecture is a little different. I really don't care. But when I'm doing a professional show, there's a different ethic. You know?
True.
I may set up my stage tables and lights and that kind of stuff, wearing jeans and a T-shirt, you know, whatever. Right? I'm doing, you know, grip work. So when you're doing that, that's perfectly acceptable.
Uh-huh.
But when you're not doing that, change it. Change, you know. A wardrobe trunk with some basic, I think we talked about this the last time, basic, you know, health and beauty supplies is a good thing to have. You know, aspirin, ibuprofen, Rolaids, Pepto-Bismol, whatever you need. So let's face it, when you're on, you're on. You know?
Uh-huh.
Maybe a little thing of honey and lemon in case you lose your voice. If your voice is cracking or start to lose your voice. You know, that can get you through. At least you'll be able to talk for a minute or two. Before it all goes downhill. Had to do that when I was doing the radio thing for a while. But, I mean, there's all these, like, little tricks you can pick up along the way and use to make sure you are visually stunning, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of this seems like it's common sense, but a lot of people, man, you look at their merchandising tables and they're like, this guy ain't going to sell nothing, dude. His tablecloths are dirty. Oh, God. That'll kill you. Big coffee stain on them, dirt. He did a fair last week, outdoors. He's got grass stains and dirt on it. Those table covers, I'd throw them away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know better than to wash that stuff. Toss that thing in the trash and grab the other one. But hey, it's one of those things where it was raining when he brought it in. There it is. That kills it. And that's why you got to understand the value of, like, plastic bags,
Uh-huh.
Now, in your new box, take a kitchen, if it's a small box, take like a kitchen trash bag, put it inside the box, put your merchandise inside that so it's nice and neat and you can get to all of it, and then close up. The plastic bag is in case you're walking into a venue in the rain, right? Your merchandise doesn't get wet. Your bags, bags or boxes that your merchandise is in, doesn't get wet, okay? It's still a new box. It'll still look like a new box. It'll look like a wet new box, but it'll look like a new box.
Right.
And never do a gig without an umbrella. Just saying.
Just saying.
Because if you got to run back to your car for a minute and it's raining, well, you got to run back to your car, Or you pay the guy $5 to go get your shit out of the car. But there's all these like strategies you can use to make sure you are as professional as you possibly can be when you hit the stage.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you're just doing a talk or a lecture or something like that, that's going to have a different set of rules to begin with, depending on what kind of lecture it is. Some like workshop lectures are dressed slightly different than you would be for like a big high-end venue just because of what you need to wear, to be able to do the workshop class.
Uh-huh.
So, all these things have variables, but they're still, back in the room good for the audiences, but keep all your product selections simple.
Uh-huh.
And simple. But, surprisingly, there's a lot of magicians that never seen some of these old effects. I'm talking about effects are, now 100 years old. They've never seen them. They are officially public domain. You're not breaking any laws.
Uh-huh.
Some of the ones I use are made in 1854. One of them, anyway. Kill with that thing, man. The little fortune teller. A little cash machine, what that bad boy is. That's nothing but an ATM from 1854, let me tell you. So, all these strategies make for a better visual presentation to the audience. Plus, here's probably the most important thing. Your audience really wants to buy something from you because they are cognitively conditioned to buy something from people they like. Period.
Yep.
And you don't have the right to tell them they can't buy anything because you didn't bring anything to buy. That just means you're not doing your job. And it could be something simple. It could be pin-back buttons. It could be, with your face or logo on them or whatever. It could be anything, really. It doesn't really matter what it is. But have something there on the tables.
Uh-huh.
Because these are things that actually enhance your overall show. Now, this applies to mentalists, magicians, comedians, speakers, whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily going to apply a lot more to mentalists because, we may be selling horoscopes on the table. This thing still sells. Believe it or not, the horoscopes, the daily horoscopes, or the horoscope books, or the pitch books, and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, because mentalism is a commercial mercenary, it's designed to sell something. For those of you who never read Robert Nelson. But yeah, so, that's that's a little basic stuff on back of the room. I just thought we'd follow up with that because we talked on the packing last time. We'll give you the back of the room this time. We're not going to really cover many things on performance unless it's with a live guest that just was just me and Robert. We'll cover like a lot of the other factors that, you know, somebody should have told you. Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, these are basic things, but I mean, there's somebody, you know, at some point somebody should have said, you know, magic and mentalism is more than tricks. You know, it's maybe 20% tricks, 80% other stuff. And so that gives us a lot to talk about. And then I think we decided we're going to do the Psicast every 2 weeks through the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we won't be here next week, but we'll be here the week after because we both have tight schedules.
Yes, we do.
And I'm back in season, he's back in season, and we'd really like to have our money. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
All right.
And then maybe in the winter when we get back to our slower season, we might do weekly again. But we'll still be putting out more episodes, and the guys have put out one show a month or one show every 2 months. So check back in then. Is there anything else you want to add about back of the room?
Yeah, all I was going to say is, for God's sakes, please be clean. Have good personal hygiene when you go to your gigs. You have no idea how many times I hear from people, it's like, you know, this guy had a great show, but he really reeked when I went up to shake his hands. You know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Please, you know, take the time, take a shower before you go, and brush your teeth. Use good mouthwash. You know, be presentable, because you do not want, because all these things can lead to poor sales, or you're going to leave your audience to have a poor view about you.
Yeah, I mean, I used to see this guy, an old magician, used to be around here. His cuffs were already stained, you know? You tell the shirt was originally white, it looked more tan now, because, you know, it's not been replaced in 20 years. I mean, that's okay, but it looks bad.
Yeah.
Just saying, it looked terrible.
Yeah.
Great show, but I mean, he just looked bad. You know, the old frills and stuff just looks bad.
I'm not talking
They're all
about
dirty, and it's like been washed 2,000 times.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about dousing yourself in cologne or perfume, but, you know, maybe just a few spritzes, but don't overdo it with the cologne, because other people will find that really bad and offensive, and they will leave.
Yeah, you're not going to a nightclub, so, you know, tone it down.
Exactly.
I mean, you want to be fresh. Just fresh and clean. You know, smelling a little like stuff is probably a good thing.
Absolutely, for sure.
And bring deodorant, antiperspirant, toothbrush, toothpaste, travel size stuff, like some mouthwash, breath mints if you need them, like those little Listerine strips work pretty good for a pinch. Just stay as fresh as possible so you're not offensive, especially if you're going to be doing back in the room. You know, you just walk off stage, it's probably going to be a little hot and sweaty anyway. Freshen up for a second before you hit the back of the room table, you know? Backstage. I mean, it takes like, what, 2 seconds? 3 seconds?
Yeah.
You know, button a few buttons on the shirt, hit it with some deodorant, quick spritz of cologne, and some, you know, breath mint. There you go. Good enough. Just, you know, just saying. Especially some of the marathon gigs I do. It might take a little more than a few minutes, but yeah, you want to try to, like, you know, you go on break, you take an intermission, freshen up a little bit, you know.
Right.
Where's the one I'll end with this it's at this one gig. The performer went to the restroom, right? That's pretty normal. You know, that's not a big deal. did not wash his hands.
Ooh.
Now, I don't care if you're working in like a machine shop and you're used to, working on a car or something, wash your hands and get pissed, whatever. In a public venue situation, make sure you have that etiquette.
Yes.
Even if it's a quick spritz under the faucet, man, just, makes it look like you made an attempt, It's all image. Somebody sees you, man, you look bad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, there may be a bucket on the side of the stage. That's not uncommon. But, I mean, just if it's not on the side of the stage, if it's not a bucket on the side of the stage, you might want to, I don't know, wash your damn hands, man.
Yeah.
I've seen it, It just doesn't. It's just little details like that have a really big impact on some people. So we don't want to give them that impact.
Mhm.
That's not what we're trying to portray to them. So it doesn't matter what we're doing, but it does matter how we do it. So we'll end with that.
Yeah, it surprises me. I mean, so many people I know, and then I meet them in the bathroom, and then I see them, taking a dump, and then they come out and they don't even wash their hands. I'm like, yep, I'm not going to shake your hand ever again. Bill, the thing about it is, it's like I've always been a proponent, of bringing into our culture and the American culture and elsewhere that instead of handshaking, they should do like the Japanese bow,
Well, I mean, you're a bit of a germaphobe anyway, but
I am. Okay, I'll admit it. No, no question there. Bow. Hey, no touch. But we show each other respect. Hey, I can go along with that.
Yeah, we're good. It's just one of those things where there's just certain etiquette that you got to think about, man.
Yeah.
In this business, it's part of the business. I don't care how great your skill level is. You show up in a dirty shirt, a sweat-stained shirt, even though it's washed and it's clean and it's pressed, but it's got like sweat stains pressed into it. You smell and you don't wash your hands. You're going down in points. So they don't give a shit about your skill.
Oh, for sure. Now
they may be some of the nastiest people you've ever seen. That are far worse than you are, but they're still going to judge you, so don't get judged. That's all I'm saying.
Oh.
And that's it. Let's wrap it.
Absolutely. Great. All right, well, so that ends this portion of Psicast, and like Bill said earlier, we're going to do another one in 2 weeks, okay?
And hopefully we get a special guest. So.
Exactly.
And you get to put up with us.
Right.
Because everybody's on tour. So.
And listen to our germaphobe stories.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll have a few more.
Exactly.
Keep your merchandise clean and keep it neat. And that goes for your props, too. Keep those clean, too.
For sure. All right. So we will see you guys at the next one. Take care.